Okay, good evening, everyone. Randy Small, Whatcom County weather coming to you from my office again here in Linden, and we are going to do an improv. Uh, Basically, I'm not set up. I'm going to check this. I haven't looked at things since earlier today, whatever you want to call it, on the run live stream. So it's going to, I didn't really give a whole lot of notice. I just put up a question, said, would you like a live stream? And the overwhelming answer was yes. So I'll wait for a couple of minute or two here and I'll talk before I get going. Hopefully everybody is on board here. If you make sure that you can hear me, let me get my microphone in a little better position, but let me know if you can hear me, and hopefully this thing will be going live and having no issues. But again, I'm doing this real fast. So if you're listening on Facebook or YouTube, let me know, and then I can get going here. Okay, Ruth Griffin says she can hear me on YouTube, so that's good. We're good on that side. A little improv live stream with the potential of flooding risks coming up again, sadly. Can't just seem to get around this and get out of this. So, okay, we got Ricky Ticky on Facebook and Alicia as well. So, okay, let's go ahead. We got about 40 so people joined here so far. So we'll just kind of see. Make sure you hit the like button on the YouTube stream. The more comments you put in, the better. On the chat, follow, subscribe, whatever you need to do. So that will help get the algorithm going. So same thing on Facebook. YouTube's the one we're really trying to grow. Facebook usually gets a good amount, especially when we live stream out in the field. So, okay, we're good to go here, and I know more will join in. I'm kind of sorry that we're having to do this, but here we are again. First thing that I want to note real quick is look at the change in temps. Look at this. 55 degrees in Bellingham, 57 kind of in the Birchwood neighborhood, 55 at the airport, 59 down towards Chuckanut. And then we got this battle with North Flow. We're still in the mid 40s up in Linden. The south wind will is taking effect here, and that south flow change is bringing up the temps. And you'll see here as I put the wind gusts on the red, you got 25 miles an hour at the airport, 25 in the Maplewood. So that south wind has switched over, and now we are a go for this next couple of storms and these atmospheric river Pineapple Express. So here it's we had a lull here, but yep, here we go. Yes, Anthony, I saw some changes in the forecast, like on the Tolt River and a couple others. We will take a look at those in just a minute on here as well. So, but I haven't had a chance. I just saw a graphic. I think one of the TV stations put out a graphic about it, and I caught it before I took a rest. I was pretty tired. Let me quick change over to the radar. And you can see now how the radar is filled in. Earlier today, this radar was hammering this part of Vancouver Island right up here. Well, a lot of Vancouver Island. It was in the yellows and oranges up here. It is now sagged south, just as we talked about last night. And we got a report here of dumping rain at Point Roberts. And you can zoom in there. You can see Point Roberts is in the yellow. We've got a lot of areas in the yellow now, and so this heavier rain is starting to pick up, and that's, this combination of rising temperatures and snow levels is going to create some nerve-wracking few days for us, for this area, and even points to our south. So, yes, Victor mentions about a wild 20-degree jump. You just with that south wind switch here, we have a big change in the temperatures warming up. By the way, it was 82 degrees in Eugene, Oregon today. So, that's crazy. But with that heat and that ridge pushing up, this rain is kind of riding over top as a conveyor belt over top the ridge, and we're getting the rain, they're getting the heat. So I'm not sure which one we'd rather have, to be honest, at this point. Let me switch back to this other graphic, and let's just go ahead and get going again. This is improv. I have nothing set up. So let's take a look at what the National Weather Service has put out for a flood watch. I posted this, or actually Jen posted this earlier, but we've got a flood watch, and you can even see that right here. It should be a green part to the graphic. Flood watches are usually this green color. I don't know what color, olive green? What do they call this green? I'm not very good with my color shades, but it's Whatcom, Skagit, Snohomish, King, and whatever county this is. I know what it is. It's I'm drawing a blank, but I do know which one it is. But anyway, those are having a flood watch. What does a flood watch mean? It means, as I've often said, and I'll just briefly mention this, it's like when you make a cupcake, it's the individual ingredients in making that cupcake. Might even be able to pull this up. Well, I'd have to switch it over to a graphic. Mason. Yep, that's it. Mason County. Thanks, Anthony. But, you know, the butter, the eggs, the flour, whatever you put in a cake, that's a watch. It's the individual ingredients. In other words, the ingredients are potentially there for a flood warning. A warning is it's imminent or it's happening. A flood is imminent or happening. A watch is saying, okay, we got to start being prepared. It is in effect from Wednesday afternoon through Friday afternoon, so about a 48-hour watch. They could extend that, although I think as of the last I had seen, the rain starts to tail off on Friday, or at least later Friday, but let's just hope it doesn't go past that. So Leslie said forest green. There you go, forest green. You can see I'm not very good with those things. So we do have a flood watch. Now, as we look at the Seattle, the National Weather Service, let's take a look at the area forecast discussion that came out tonight. So just about a little over an hour ago, the atmosphere river is going to impact the region through much of the week, bringing multiple rounds of rain. We talked about this last night. Warmer temperatures to western Washington. Higher snow levels and periods of moderate to heavy rain will bring rises to area rivers this week, with river flooding possible. So let's take a look at where the snow levels are. So again, we're doing this on the fly, and I gotta remember all my links here, but I'm doing off the top of my head. If we go over to the ski area, it'll help us understand where at least we have an idea of the snow level. Right now, it's 40 degrees at 8 o'clock tonight. When they had the 8 o'clock reading, it's 40 degrees at the ski area and 36 at 5,000 feet at Pan Dome, or Artist Point, if you want to say it that, because that's about the same height above sea level. And so 36 degrees would tell me the snow level is probably, you're thinking you got to go up a few degrees to get to 32. I'm thinking it's closing in on 6,000 feet already. 5,800, 6,000, 62, somewhere in there is probably where the snow level is, but it's going to rise even more. And if we click on this, the forecast points, and we pull up the Heather Meadows. I've got this dialed in now. For some reason, I can't get it to save actually at Heather Meadows. Someday I'll figure that out. But Heather Meadows is the ski area. We can go down at the bottom of this chart. And in fact, let me drop this link into, I'm going to drop it into the chat. That is the link for, and let me write that, link for, let's see, how do I call this? Link for snow levels at Heather Meadows. I'm assuming that link, let's see. Oh no, it puts it at Tennessee. Of course, so you got to search the map for Heather Meadows once you click that link. Let me write that in. Once you click the link, search for Heather Meadows and scroll down to the bottom. Okay, so once you click on that link, you scroll down and look at, they're already saying it's around 5,800. I think that's just what I said. And so then you go up to 7,700, and it has a range all the way up to, what is that range? 76, 77, 7,800. Maybe that's the high end of the range, 7,700. But it pretty much stays above 6,000 feet until Friday. Okay, so that's check number one that we don't want to see. So check number one, we have a lot of snow. By the way, it snowed 10 inches, about 10 inches up at Mount Baker overnight into this morning before it switched to rain. So add in another 10 inches of snow, which we want snowpack, but we don't want Pineapple Expresses coming at us after that. So that's kind of, we got this high snow level, and that's number one thing that I always check, is that not what I want to see. So yeah, let's check. The National Weather Service has put out some updated information about their river forecasting, and let me drop that link in here. Hang on a second. Let me go to here, and you go to Rivers and Lakes, and you click on that, Rivers and Lakes. Let me drop this flood gauge link. So this is the one. I'm dropping that into the chat, the flood gauge link. And so when you scroll into that, or zoom in, you start seeing the rivers in Western Washington, and you start seeing, let me explain this to you for the 33rd time, but sadly, I wish I wasn't having to do this. But what we have is the green circle, or the circles, are the current levels of the rivers, okay? The squares are where they are forecasted to potentially go to, okay? And I don't know how, if I have, yeah, you can see that. See this over here? You got major flood is purple, moderate is red, minor is orange, action's yellow. We've already got a purple on here at the Tolt River near Carnation. So if you click on the Tolt River, it's already on by, let's see, March 18th. We're the 16th, so is that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? They're talking about a potential of a major flooding of Tolt River near Carnation. At least that's what it's forecast. Okay, we don't know yet for but that's where they're looking at, and that has jumped from yesterday. And I think that's what Anthony was talking about when he mentioned it. Have I seen the river changes? Snoqualmie near Carnation, which had all kinds of trouble in December, has a double jump here, although the second bump is not as big, so that's a good thing. But it's into moderate stage. We've got the Snohomish River at Snohomish starting to get into the moderate stage, coming up about Thursday or Wednesday later in the day. Let's see, do I have my dates right here? March 18th is Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. I guess St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow. So, yeah, we're seeing some changes. Now, everybody wants to know about the Nooksack, and they're all here. Currently, the Nooksack is only slated to be in action stage. Now, this has also gone up since yesterday. I actually thought it came down a little bit, but they've revised it. See, they revised this. You can actually find out when they put the new forecast. Yeah, let's see. The forecast was made at 2:25 today. But we look at Ferndale, it's pushing towards minor stage. Now, minor is doable, but this is and I don't mean to make a pun here, but this is a fluid situation. This is something we have got to watch. And I cannot go out and stand at the top of the Mount Baker or wherever the headwaters of the Nooksack are and stop rain and water and snowmelt from coming down the river. All I can do is sit in my office right now and say it's time that we need to be prepared in case we have another round of flooding. That doesn't mean we're going to have a flood, but because I'm starting to see some changes, and we made it through the first round because the snow level stayed below freezing, just about all the rain we had Sunday night into Monday. But I'm starting to get a not so good feeling about this. And so hang on, I'll show you all the graphs, but I can tell you right now, the Nooksack at Everson is not going to show you, it does not have a forecast. So hang on, I'll get to them. I'm just, I'm just starting to get a not a good feeling about this. So we need to be prepared for this. The potential of, again, I'm not saying it's going to flood in Sumas. I'm not saying that. I don't know, but we have to be starting to think about this. And I was hoping not to have to do a live tonight, but here we are. So Everson, I'm getting asked, Alicia. The thing about Everson is they don't have a forecast gauge at Everson. They just have a reading, but it is starting to rise at Everson. Okay, and so we just don't have a forecast, which, we really need to look upstream, and we can look at that as well. Let me scroll down. But there's just no purple line. It's only observed here, and it is rising up for sure. It's up a couple feet or so today. Well, since, today. It's gone up about 2 feet. But that doesn't mean, or maybe not quite 2 feet, that doesn't mean it's going to flood. But we just don't have a forecast link on this, or they don't have one for the Everson gauge. But again, the key one here is to look at the upstream Cedarville one. The problem is the Cedarville one is doing, I'm not trusting it like I maybe did back in 20. After the 21 flood, I'm not sure I trust Cedarville very much. Basically, once it gets up into the red stage, we better watch out. We just better keep a really good close eye once it gets into that 148 foot range, or even as you get into the upper minor stage. But it is forecasted right now not to get to action stage, but we've got to keep an eye on this. It's because it's too early to say. This can change quickly. Again, a fluid situation. And if this atmospheric river overperforms like sometimes they do, we got to watch it. So, yeah, you're welcome, Alicia. We'll cover this more, too, if we have to, say tomorrow night. We'll come back and we'll recover if things look changed again. So I'll mention these things over. But, yeah, Cedarville. And another thing, too, Cedarville is also, while that one is important to look at, it's not, honestly, the biggest key one, in my opinion, is the one that's further upstream. And while Cedarville is very, very important, I'm not minimizing it, but actually this one up here is a very telltale, the North Fork at Glacier, because it does have a forecast. And what we can do is we can go back to the floods of 21 and the flood of 25, the 2 week before Christmas flood. We can look at where it crested upstream, and we can get an idea, okay, does it look like the forecast is going to get anywhere close? If it does, watch out. But, if we're a foot or two or whatever, 3 below that, then, okay, we might be able to get away with low-lying flooding. The Sumas River will probably flood no matter what, and some creeks and some things like that. But, we're just going to have to keep an eye. And I'm going to have to pull the data from this gauge. I did it before, and it's going to take a little doing, but I'll figure it out as to what the flooding, because there is a way, and it might have to go down to the USGS site to do it, to pull up data from way back when. I know there is a way to do it. You click this little slider button, and you can start to get data from further, let's see, 14 days. If I hit all, I don't know. If I hit all, it might show me, but it might also take a while. But there is a way to pull the data from the past, and so we can find out where the North Fork at Glacier, where it flooded at, or where it rose to as well back in the big floods. Okay, and again, I'll try to work on that probably tomorrow. One thing I noticed, this is a little bit below the forecast right now, the North Fork. You can zoom in, and I don't know if you can see that very well, but over here on the right, where it goes from the observed, which is the blue line, to the purple squares, that's the forecast. It's a little below that. So that doesn't necessarily mean it won't catch up to it, but right now the forecast's a little behind, in a good way, I guess, in this case, but we'll keep an eye on that. It looks like they are at this point forecasting the crest to come on Friday afternoon, but that can change. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. So we've got here's what I'm seeing: snow levels that are going up, zoom, 7,000, 8,000 feet, not good. Whole bunch of snow in the mountains that we've got, which was good, but some of that's going to come down the river. How much snow can absorb or sponge up the rain that's coming? That's going to be a big thing. How much rain do we actually get is going to be a big thing. How, we're just going to have to keep an eye on all these gauges. Let me show you a new place too in just a moment where I have all the Nooksack gauges, and I'll talk about that. I talked about it last night, but I'll drop that link here. And what I wanted to mention was regarding the Nooksack River gauges, and I can take a look at other rivers here in just a minute. Let me state it this way: be careful who you get your information from. Just be careful where you get your source information. The Nooksack River Flooding Disaster Facebook page is probably a really reliable one. But when it comes to the Nooksack River, just be careful where you're hearing, seeing, reading things. So just keep an eye on our page. I know that's kind of a plug for us, but at the same time, there's some people out there that honestly do not know what they're talking about when it comes to this. And so just be careful. Double check your sources for people that have been through this and know how to read the gauges and understand what they mean. But we honestly have a period of heavy rain coming. So again, I can't stop a potential flood. I wish I could, but I can just sit here and live stream. And try to warn and say, okay, let's start, the crest doesn't come till Friday. Okay, we have a couple days. Well, we'll take a look as we go tomorrow. Okay, how much rain did we get last night? What is the gauges forecasted now? And then we go into Wednesday, we'll do the same thing. And then we're going to, and Sumas City their Facebook page has already made a post. A lot of people have said that they don't think this is going to be a major flood. I'd be careful with that. I'm hoping that it's not one. But as I learned in the December one, this changed rapidly after we learned we got more rain than what we thought we were going to get. And as I've said last night, atmospheric rivers can give more rain than what's forecasted. Right now, we would really like it to see, honestly, way less rain, but that often doesn't happen. Let's take a look also here at, somebody wanted the Skagit River. So let me just, and I see a bunch of comments. Right now, the Skagit has, at concrete, is set to go up to major stage. On the second bump, there you got the first bump. This is the second bump. So now it looks like the observed is a little below that forecast here too. But that's not a good sign for the Skagit. This is a change from earlier. And then at Mount Vernon, moderate. Just basically midway between moderate and major, kind of in that halfway. Again, we're, nowhere close to where we were at this point in December, but we just gonna have to watch this. So keep an eye on the Skagit. Again, I am not calling for major flooding. I'm not saying we're gonna have a major flood. I'm just saying, what else can I do other than say we have to get prepared? And the hard part is we got a lot of people who have PTSD or just their nerves are up because they've been through this too many times in the last few years. And so I don't know what else to say. People are just getting back in their houses. So I do have a way to look at the Sumas River, but it's not on, I don't think it's on this map. I think I can look at the Sumas River. Let me come back to that, Victoria, in just a minute. There was another thing I wanted to check on. I'll come back to all the questions here in just a minute. I was going to show you, we are put together, and again, I'm going to say this as strongly as I can say. My new weather page, Whatcom County at wx.com, which is the old one, but it is viewable as a new one, is not finished. It is not finished. We have this in test mode, but I have released it last night to you guys, and I'll release it all again because my friend across the border has built my website because I don't have time. I'm hired him, and he is doing a phenomenal job. But I want to tell you right now that it is in test mode for the flood gauges. So while you can look at them, and I think they're accurate, We are in test mode only, so I would encourage you to use the National Weather Service one, that link I dropped in there. And we'll keep those links in a lot of our posts as we come up if we see that there's going to be problems for all the people that may not know where they look at, but or be able to find them. But I will say this: we have the 6 major gauges. I think we have all the major ones of the river on one page. We have the Middle Fork at Deming. We have the North Fork at Glacier. We have the Ferndale one. I think we need to move these a little bit around. We need to get the Ferndale one at the end of the chain. We got North Cedarville, which needs to be up here. We've got Everson, which comes after Cedarville. And then Saxon and the South Fork is right now not slated to get to action stage, which is a good thing. Right now, we're in good shape, okay? But tomorrow or the next day, we may not be when it comes to looking at this. So that's why I'm hesitant to say, oh yeah, we're not going to have any major flooding. We've just got to keep a wary eye. And listen, we don't want major flooding again. But I can't stop it. I can't get out there. I can just sit here and relay the information. But one thing my friend has built on this is he's got the current stage. Yes, I will drop the link to the page in just a minute. And then he's got the different types of stages by color. But again, this is in what's the word? Test mode. By the way, I think if you hit view details, he's got the hydrograph. Oh, he's got the historical record. He's got the 10-day probability map. He's got different stuff, and this is being pulled off some of the USGS and some of NOAA data. And I think you can click on the view on NOAA, and it'll take you right to the page. Okay? And then you can go to the USGS. This is unbelievable what he set up for me, because this is stuff that I've been wanting all in one location. So let me drop the link to this. Because that's what you want. Again, it's in test mode. Okay. Test mode for now. But if you click on, the Nooksack River near Deming, let's pull up the Ferndale. Actually, let's pull up Cedarville. If you click on the Cedarville map, it'll bring you to, it says no flooding up here. It is rising, the trend, and we know that. It's got the current flow, the current stage, and the last observation, which is, not sure about that, 2 hours ago, but it says 9:30. Oh, maybe that's the next observation will come at 9:30. But as you scroll down here, you can click on the official government pages for both of those, for both links for North Cedarville, right here. So, actually, sorry. It's that one and that one. So, there you go. Hopefully that helps. You can poke around on our page, but just understand it's not launched officially. We're kind of giving you a preview, and there's lots of other things on the website that you might find interesting. But again, we have a lot more that's going to go on that site, and we have lots of ideas. It just takes time and money to get it done. But just so you know, there you go. That's the best I can do right now and tell you it's in test mode. So, yeah. Let me stop here for a moment. I'm going to switch it over to the radar just so while I'm talking here. And you can, I think the radar's up. I'm going to put it into motion. You can kind of see what's happening with the precip right now. Hopefully you can see that. Let me go through the comments. I'm going to start way at the top here. Let's see. Let me just go through these. Jennifer mentioned that before midnight we'd hit our daytime high. It looks like that may happen. We talked about that as the jump has been made. George says my weather analogies make me hungry. Well, I've got a taco one for you too, but you can use any of them. An analyst, I'm not sure quite how to say your name, and I apologize if I just didn't say that correctly. We just did show the Nooksack River, and hopefully right now it's okay. But I'm a little nervous right now about it. That's just what I'm going to say. And I've just got flags in my mind, and it's like, okay, I want to think that it's going to be fine, but we just don't know yet. So we're just going to have to take it one day at a time. But if you're in this flood zone, floodplain, you've had flooding issues with either the Sumas, the Johnson Creek, the Nooksack, those same old ones, especially in North County, out here. Ferndale area is there's gonna be roads closed. I don't, the normal low-lying flooding issues are gonna crop up. But the question is this going to be something that's bigger than that? So probably the time now is to, again, think what do I do? I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying let's just be at least mentally prepared. And I know that's really hard right now for a lot of people. Really hard. If there's people that can come alongside, like if you aren't in the floodplain, but you know a good friend that is, maybe come alongside them and ask them, how could I help you if you need help? Ask them now. If something were to change and this gets bad, potentially, and again, I'm not saying that's what it is, how could I help you? How could I plan to help you? If we, whether it's, again, I don't know that sandbagging is a huge help, and maybe for some, but whether it would be that or whatever else, animal moving, important papers to have in a box, I don't know. And I hope we don't go through that again. But just something to consider. If you're not in it, how can I help my neighbor who might be in it? Now is the time to ask. Casey mentioned the ski area is closed. That is correct, due to the rain on top of the snow. Oh, by the way, high avalanche danger, I would guess. Let me pull this back up. Let's go to this link right here, the Northwest Avalanche Center. Okay, so we're not at high at this moment. It's 3. It's considerable danger. I'm going to guess this is going to go to red at some point this week. So we're also going to have to watch out for mudslides. That's another thing we're going to have to keep an eye on. But yes, the ski area is closed till Friday. Joey's mama checking in from Birch Bay. She has a coworker and family who were affected by the last flood. Okay, so yeah, again, we're going to have to take a look at this. Keep an eye on this. I hope this is not going to be a big issue. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on YouTube, please. That's a big help to getting this out. We are actually monetized. I think I've made $5 so far on my YouTube channel. But we are monetized now, and so the more that watch it, and then we grow the stream, et cetera, we'll try, if we have to go out into the field, we'll try to get YouTube up as part of that live stream as well. The Facebook has always been where I've got the most people, but YouTube is growing, and I really appreciate the support as well. We do have some things set up, super chats and all that. I haven't got it all going great, but there is super chats and other things that you can do, I guess, to support. And I do have a Ko-Fi link, which I haven't even used lately, but I do appreciate the support. We've been supported well this past year, as we have every year, to be honest. Shireen mentions the ditches fill fast on Double Ditch. Well, yeah, that is true. Okay, Alicia mentioned the Everson River forecast. Joey's mama, glad we're on YouTube. Yes, I've heard that repeatedly, that YouTube is good because you can watch it on your TV. George, we looked at the Skagit River. Grifter mentioned AR sliding south. That is correct, and with that we see that on the radar. It has slid south. It wasn't raining earlier today, but you can kind of see that slide south. Let me turn this back on. But you can see, even as you watch the last few loops of this radar, you can see how this yellow is sliding south or southeast, but it's basically south. And now we're, it's more southern Vancouver Island. Even Port Angeles is getting hammered here. Squim might even get it pretty good, which is unusual because of the orientation of this atmospheric river, at least to start with, where some of these places that are normally in the rain shadow are getting a lot of rain. But you see Whatcom County. We can't see the mountains very well, just what it is, but I'm going to assume it's raining up there. And again, if we go over to the Mount Baker reporting information on the avalanche site. Let me switch back here. If we go over here to this page, we can find out if it's raining or not by just looking at, the weather data for the current. So it is raining at the ski area now. It had stopped for a few hours, or basically stopped, but it is now raining because the 9 o'clock reading, it's 39 degrees at the ski area and it had 0.04 inch of rain, precip, and we know that's not snow. So, because it's too warm at 39, I guarantee that's rain. So, Okay. Krista replies to Alicia the link of the place to check that flood gauge. Thank you, Krista, for helping out with that. That's the individual one. The gravel rearranged itself downstream of Cedarville. Yes, there's just the Cedarville one. Something has changed, definitely. 50 out. I'm not sure where Joey's mama. I forget where Joey's mama lives, but 50 out there. Brittany mentioned standing water, and Krista did reply to Brittany about this, and I would agree with Krista. It's probably not directly connected to any, and I mean, I don't know where you live, Brittany, but it's probably, I know it's not connected to the Nooksack. It's because the Nooksack's not flooding at all anywhere. At least all the gauges are in good shape at this moment. But it's probably just the water table with the amount of rain, and we can take a look at that. But the amount of rain that we've got over the last few days, especially, we got over an inch. Oh, I'll show you that in just a moment. Wendy says, I'm better than the weather people. Well, the weather people are good. I've got really good friends, or not really good, but I'm friends with a lot of meteorologists in the Seattle and even up and across the border. They can only do so much in a 5-minute update. But here we can do live streams and we can go out in the field. They can't do that. And I'm part of this community. I grew up here. I've lived here all my life outside of 4 years in college in Wisconsin. I have been here all my life. I've been through all the storms, been through the floods, been through the snowstorms, been in them, covered them, helped, grew up here and have lots of family and friends and know a lot of people. So I'm part of this community. That's one thing I will say about my page, our page. All of us that work on the page are part of the community, number one. We have been here for many years, if not all of our lives. That's number two. And number three, we have a ton of family and friends that have been affected by floods and other storms. When you look at other, big localized, like a news station, those meteorologists sure have friends that might be affected by storms, of course, but I'm in this community. I'm covering this localized with all the microclimates community, and so I think there's an advantage to that. Even the larger Facebook pages, not knocking them, there are really good ones in this Western Washington, Pacific Northwest, but and while they live here, they're covering such a wide area that when they go to places, they don't, like when I go to places and cover the flood, I'm running into family. I'm running into friends that I've known for years. And so there's, we've got that going here, and that's the way I wanted to build the community. So anyway, that was a side note. Just scrolling through this. And by the way, that's not a knock on any meteorologists or anything. It's just kind of a niche that I wanted to build here in the community. Connie mentions of minor flooding affects people. Yep, exactly. George mentions trusting me and me alone. There are other people that are good at this. So I'm not, there are very good experts. The one thing is a lot of them can look at the flood gauges and talk about them and tell that, but then they can't be in every place. We stay and stick in Whatcom County, generally speaking. So in other words, if there's a big, a Facebook page, they're covering big areas, but they can physically only be in one place and cover one place. We can we can only cover one town at a time, but we can again get into the county. We know this. We live here. We stay here. But there are people that do know and understand the gauges, understand the river flooding, have covered river flooding and snowstorms and windstorms. So I don't have a corner on it. I'm just saying. I think in Whatcom County. Just be careful who you choose there, either media or not. Just be careful. But there are some good people around, for sure. Jamie asked, for my mom's place on Nooksack Avenue, the issue is always groundwater, even when the river floods majorly. I'm curious how the river level, rainfall, and groundwater are all connected. Does the region's groundwater level go up when the river is up? I'm interested to learn what is affecting what. Oh boy, that might be out of my league. I'm going to assume that river levels rising would affect the groundwaters, the water table rising. I would assume that they would be somewhat in conjunction, but I honestly am not an expert on that question. and I might have to defer to somebody who would know more about that. And I apologize. A lot of times I'm able to answer the questions, and I'm just not sure I feel, that I understand enough. I know that the 21 flood, the water tables were unbelievably high. I'm not convinced in December 25 flood they were as near as high as they were in November of 21. But there's probably several factors that go into this, and I'm not sure I'm the one to be able to answer that. Sorry. Okay. Appreciate that, Keith. Okay. Much appreciated. Yep. Thank you. Thanks, Puget Sound Stormwatch, for being here tonight. Thank you, Anthony, and Keith as well. Yeah, Lake Iowa Street, again, that place always seems to flood, right? So, yeah, now is the time to stock up on toilet paper. Yeah, we always say in a winter storm it's kale, but, yeah. So, Matthew is here from Federal Way. Good to have him on here. He's runs Western Washington Weather on YouTube, as well as Facebook. And he is one I would trust. He is one I would trust. Again, but he covers down south more. And he's probably going to have to keep an eye on the rivers. As you look at this river forecast map here. Hold on a second. Let me pull this map back up. I had it all up here, and then I lose track of which. Right here, Matthew would be covering down here, in the King County, Pierce County. I know he covered a ton of the flooding in in the December flood. He also has a drone, and so he's able to get some pictures from up high. Okay, Cheryl asked, where can I find the link? Let me, I'm not sure which link that was. I put a couple links in here. Let me know which link that was. Class. Looks like Matthew just finished a final test today. Okay, good. So some of these people that are running these pages are getting degrees and going to school for meteorology. Several people that I know are doing that. I wish I would have learned more when I was younger, but it is what it is. So Leslie mentions the 6 P's for evacuation. That's a good thing. Okay, Cheryl found the link. Do you think Everson River is going to flood? Amanda, I'm assuming when you say Everson River, I'm assuming you mean the Nooksack River at Everson. But I'm not quite sure on that, but I think, because I'm not sure is there an Everson River? Anyway, we don't know yet. We just going to have to keep a wary eye on it. That's all I can say. We're going to keep checking it. And, yeah, I covered that earlier in the live, too. And once this is done, you can go back and listen to about, I would say, 5-minute mark onward. And we talked about the Nooksack, covered that. So, he's kicking our house. He's getting repaired from it. Yeah, Amanda says she doesn't want to flood. Another flood. I'm 1,000% behind you guys on this. So, we're up there when St. Helens blew. Wow. Okay. Understanding Whatcom County microclimates is the boots on the ground. Oh, they want me to share the link. Oh, yeah. I'll look at the Sumas River. Okay. Let me share my link to my page again. Let me go back here. Hang on. 1 second. Under flood monitoring, here are all the links. This is in test mode. But this shows all the major flood gauges for the Nooksack on one page. You can click on any one to get more info. Again, this is in test mode, but I'm pretty certain it's all accurate. So if you click on the Ferndale one, you can go over here, and my friend who's built this, Nathaniel, has got information about different graphics here. Oh, I see what he did. He was able to, he's got the regular hydrograph, but he's also got it comparing it to historical record. Love that. Here is the flooding heights at different stages: action, minor, moderate, major. He's got 10-day river probabilities. He's pulling this off of, he's got API data links that he's pulling this off of. But if you're like, I'm not sure that this is accurate, and this is what I'm saying, we're running this in test mode, come down here to the bottom of that page once you click on a gauge, and you can click on the NOAA page or the USGS link, and that'll bring you to the official government links. it matches what he's got on here. But if you're like, oh, I don't trust it, then you can do that. And it's going to give you the same, probably a lot of the same data. It is. But you can go to the page, and the USGS has a little different information on some of this graphs than the NOAA site. So hopefully this will help people to be able to look on it. Save that link. Again, it's not officially, we haven't launched. It's a soft launch. It's not officially become the new website, but I'm just trying to get to help you guys right now and do the best we can. And yes, Keith is in contact with Nathaniel already. So about his wanting to do a page as well. So, and I would highly recommend Nathaniel. I think on the bottom of my website is where, let's see, made with Cascadia Solutions. If you need somebody to do a website, I would highly recommend Nathaniel up there. He actually lives across the border in Abbotsford area, but he is honest and very good at what he does, in my opinion. So there's a plug for him. And anyway, so okay, Sumas River. I gotta remember which website. My brain here is not prepared for this. Let me think about the where I find all those other. I'm going to clear out some of these links. Hang on one second. I might have to pull up my database because for some reason I'm drawing a blank. Okay, this one. Does this one have the? I don't think this one has. Let's see. This one has Samish. No, it's Gadget. There's the Samish. Okay, here's the Sumas River gauge. But again, it doesn't have, and this is at Sumas, it doesn't have a forecast to it. But again, you could go back and look at let's see if I can pull up the old data. Give me a second here. I am going to go to the USGS page. Hold on a second. USGS. Let me pull up the flood gauges here. That's North Cedarville. Hang on one second. Because I can pull up a year's worth of data. I just got to get to... I got to get over to the whole map. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Come on. Oh, Control plus Zoom. Okay, that's great. I want to be able to... Okay, I think this is... Here we go. We're getting closer. Okay, here's the Sumas River. The gauge height is at a little over 11.5 feet. Is that right? Make sure. Yep, that's right off of that one. That matches. Okay, and I'm going to pull up the year. And what I want to see is the December flood for the Sumas River appears to have gone to 14.7 feet. I think that's what the highest one. I'm sure there's a way to tell that. I think that's got to be the December flood. The January event, because we did have another one, went to just below 14. So this went up to almost 15, and this gave about a foot less. And then we also had one in February, but that came in at 13 feet. Oh, how do I get to March? Here is March. So Sumas River is on the move up, obviously. And it's already almost to 12 feet. So I suspect the Sumas River is going to flood just by looking at this. Again, will it get to this stage? I don't know. But again, we are having issues with the Sumas River every time we have any amount of rain, from my understanding. I'm trying to learn more about it. And several people have talked to me about covering it a little better. So I'm trying to. So that's, yeah. If you live along the Sumas River, here we go. I just, it's zooming up. At least it looks like to me. Again, that shows a sharp zoom. It isn't that sharp. It's just because this is showing a whole year's worth of data. Well, actually 6 months worth of data on this one, on this current one across. But the technical one of, hour by hour is not, it's going up slowly. But again, it looks like the 14 and a half, 14, almost 15 foot mark for the December 11th flood. Now, it crested on December 12th. So, yeah. Anyway, best I can do. Okay, is there anything else you want me to cover here? Wind. Wind. We made a wind post earlier. Oh, two things. Okay. Let me pull up precip. How much precip might be coming? Let's pull up the 18Z precip for the euro. Boy, the euro is not correct for even right now. I mean, this is, well, hang on. Maybe I'm wrong. It's 9 o'clock, 9:30 here almost. See, so that's 7 hours. 7 hours plus 9:30 would be 16. It would be 4:30. Maybe it's close to being correct. It just feels like it's raining heavier and maybe a little behind. But anyway, so we're looking like an inch by the... Not quite an inch, but maybe an inch as we go into the morning time. Then maybe, is there a little bit of a break here? And I wouldn't call it a total break maybe, but maybe a little bit less as we go through the day Tuesday. And then it picks up overnight again into Wednesday. And it just keeps raining on Wednesday. We're almost at 2 inches at BLI, and it's not even Wednesday. It's not even Thursday yet. So 2 inches through midnight Thursday on this run for BLI. Let's just see. It looks like we got a break maybe Thursday night. Friday's got some more rain, so we're up to 3.5 inches Friday afternoon, and then we've got 4 to 5 to 6 inches up in the mountains. So, Jennifer, yes, you have an inch since midnight, but this is only, and I can show you that. I'll show us how much has rained, but this was for, since it picked up tonight. Is I guess what I was talking about. Since this doesn't include today's rain in this run, pretty much. I mean, a little bit of it. So, but yeah. Let me just see something. What is the 12Z? It's come down from the 12Z. Let's see what the 6Z. Yeah, it's just fluctuating. Victoria, no. I do not. No. The Sumas River is not does not flood the town of Sumas. The way the Sumas floods, for the most part, I'm sure there's a few places that could flood in Sumas, but that is not, the Sumas River is not the main driver of that. Although it will fill up and it probably contributes, but it's really the flow from Nooksack out of Everson at Emerson that goes north. Or goes downhill. Is that what it does, really? Or it's got to be something like that. But it flows towards Sumas, and that's the big driver for major flooding in Sumas, is the Nooksack coming out at Everson. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't affected by Johnson Creek and Sumas River. I'm not saying that, and maybe other tributary or smaller creeks. But the Sumas River in and of itself can flood, but it wouldn't flood the whole town of Sumas. So just to clarify that. That's a good question. So let me take a look at the EPS here real quick, the ensemble, the ensemble is less, and that often is the case. So about 5 to 6 inches up in the mountains and 3 inches here. So we'll just have to keep an eye on this. I can even show you a video, Victoria, if you want to stay. This is going longer than I hoped. But if you want to stay on, I can pull up some video from my coverage of the 21 flood showing, and also the 25 flood, showing that flow going from Everson to Sumas. But let me also point out, let me take the precip for historical precip from last night. When did it start raining yesterday? About 5 o'clock. Let's go 4 o'clock, and we're going to go to 4 o'clock today. So that doesn't include the rain tonight. So here was the precip totals for rain for the first round. Linden, we got 1.3 inches, basically 1.22 in, what do you call this? Custer, Ferndale, in between. About an inch between a little over 3/4 to an inch in Ferndale, an inch at the airport, basically. So, 0.80 down in Lake Whatcom, Sudden Valley area, about an inch. I'm not sure about these two gauges. 0.99 down on I-5 south of Alger, north of Burlington. A little bit less down here. Looks like we got a rain shadow that might have happened. So, yeah, let's... about an inch out in Blaine. So, that was the first round. Now, if we put the second round, which started tonight, we're going to we'll start it at 5 o'clock, and we're going to go through, what time is it? 9 o'clock tonight. So that's kind of what the rain we've got. I guess the Euro wasn't too far off for what it was saying. In the last 4 hours. So we got that amount so far. And as it sags south, you can tell it sags south by just looking at these totals, because across White Rock and Birch Bay have more than down here. As it sags south, that'll pick up. But so we'll just keep an eye on the rain totals. I'm gonna go back to this preset map. Let me go ahead and look at this. Let me look at the GFS. It should be out for tonight now that I've gone this late. Come on. GFS is interesting that the GFS, at least for the lowlands, is not as wet. At least on the run tonight, although the mountains would be in similar 6-7 inches. Maybe a little higher as you go further, east on this run. Okay, interesting, 2.29 inches. Let me pull up this real quick. So far for the month, we're at 2.55 inches. Exactly what I said last night. That's where we were. Basically 2.5 inches. 3.36 inches is the normal. Right down here, we are at 2.55. Today, Bellingham has had... Let's see. Why aren't you letting me click on your reporting station? Well, take some of this. I will figure this out. Okay. So Bellingham Airport has had today, March 16th, has had 0.24. I'm just going to add this up. 0.41, 0.48. Somewhere over a half an inch today from this morning, midnight. So add another at least half an inch to this. So we're pushing already normal for March. So it's yeah, this is, another wet month. Let me show you this. I showed this last night. This is kind of bonus coverage. You don't have to stay on watching this. I'm just kind of rambling. But I'm going to look up here, and I showed this last night, the most amount of rain in the months of March at Bellingham International Airport in history. And actually, I'm going to put the top 20 to 0. And 7 inches is the record from 1950, but we had over 5 inches last year. Number 6 was 2025. Now, the 20th record is just under 4 inches. Okay, that's number 20. This is about 75 years of data here, maybe 77. It started in 49, so how many is that? 77, 78, somewhere in there. Might be a couple missing years too. Some days too many. A couple years they might not have gathered the full data. If we go back to this graph, we're already at 3 inches, over 3 inches. We got they're saying some of these forecast models are showing between 2 to 3 inches more at Bellingham Airport. That would basically double us to 6. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but 6 inches would put us a top 3 all time if that happens. And we're not even through. I mean, that's just this week. We still have a week and 3 days to go. And I think some troughing is going to return next week, which would be very good news, because that would shut off it would bring our mountain snow levels back down and give them a dose of snow. In fact, let me just quick take a look at the GFS tonight, because the Euro is not out yet. It's not out all the way, but let's just see. Here's this big ridge. You guys can still see this, right? Yeah. Blues and reds. This big ridge in the southwest. The conveyor belt's riding over top of it. The moisture, I can show you that conveyor belt. That ridge just holds on. Now we're Friday, and here comes what appears to be maybe a little bit of troughing. Okay. And maybe not a bad weekend coming up. We'll see. Might still be a chance of showers, though. But here's the troughing that I was seeing. Here it comes. And that would cool us down. So next week, at this point, that is a cool dump of mountain snow and cool down in the lowlands again, if this were to materialize. Okay? That's as far out as we go. And you can see that if you go to the snow map here. And again, this is just a quick look at this. There's no snow up in the mountains. It's almost all rain through Friday. There's just nothing going here. That's through Friday. Right about there. Then you see that trough, first trough. And then next week, you get some snow in the mountains over the weekend, toward this weekend, later in the weekend. And let's just see if there's some more. Here it comes. Here comes a bunch of mountain snow on that next troughing, which would be good because it would replace this as well. Some of the snow we're going to lose right tonight into Friday. Don't worry about this lowland business, but it returns to a troughing cooler pattern, which is honestly, I know nobody wants cool weather. Maybe right now they want sun and 70, but the reality is we need to get our snowpack built back up again. So that would be a good sign, but let's get through this week. So I think I've covered about everything I can cover that I wanted to. May have been one other thing that had come to my mind, but yeah, can't remember what else there was. Oh, going back to the area forecast discussion, I don't think I ever finished that. Strong high pressure over the southwest is helping to steer moisture through western Washington. Oh, that's another thing I would like to look at. I think it's this one or this one. High snow levels over 8,000 feet are forecast over the region, leading to mainly rain in the mountains. Periods of heavy rain with melting snow and runoff will lead to rising rivers with flooding possible. Most of the focus is over the central northern Cascades and into BC, and a flood watch is in effect. The period of likely flooding would occur from Wednesday to Friday time period. So we've addressed that. The air mass will be mild with highs in the 50s to lower 60s. That's this week. That's not next week. It will continue through Friday with mild temps, rain, and rivers running high. Rivers will recede with drier weather over the weekend. I just said that. Cool temperatures and lower snow levels. Total rainfall through Friday is on the order of 1 to 2 inches. In the lowlands, I think we're going to see higher here than that. And 3 to 6 over the coast. Did they mention the mountains? They mentioned over the coast. Huh. Okay. Oh, this is Thursday. Sorry, this is Thursday through Monday. My bad. I was thinking this was the first part of it. So, yeah, that would be more accurate. That is correct. Oh, no, it says total rainfall through Friday is 1 to 2 inches. Yeah, and I think that's probably, they're covering all their bases from Canadian down to, their coverage area. The National Weather Service's coverage area is pretty broad. It goes from, let me back to this. The National Weather Service Seattle coverage area ends at Clark County. It doesn't include Clark County, but here it is. All the way from the ocean up to the BC border to the mountains to Clark County. And they're covering all this area and saying 1 to 2 inches, but they probably should have. I mean, unless they're really serious that they don't think we're going to get 2 inches. But it feels like we're going to get more than 2 inches up in Whatcom County in the lowlands, in my opinion. I don't know. Yeah, they could say 1 to 3 inches, but most of their forecast area will see 1 to 2 inches, except us probably. We'll see about Skagit. And you can see that, by the way, at least somewhat. No. Let me go back here to this map. You can see that we get the most up here in Whatcom for when it comes to the lowlands, the I-5 corridor. And it is 1 to 2 inches, kind of Skagit, mid-Skagit south. If this was to be accurate, this weather run. But up here, we're above that. I'm guessing the National Blend of Models is saying, well, it's saying a similar, it's just over 2 inches, so, but 7.5 inches in the mountains. So, yeah, lowlands, maybe, but the Euro's often right in this, and the Euro has more, so we'll see. I have ADHD on steroids because I can't keep track of one thing, and I have to go to something else, and then I have to come back. Let me finish the AFD. Temperatures will be cooler Sunday morning with areas around the South Sound near freezing. So that's with that troughing coming down. And then next week, they haven't addressed next week yet. By the way, if you want to see, here's your atmospheric river. And this was earlier today. This was the heavy rain hitting Vancouver Island and up in BC. Here you see, this is 5 o'clock today. It's sagging south. This is integrated water vapor transport. And it's sagging south. And here we go into Tuesday, and it just kind of aimed here, kind of the whole area, but it did sag south. Here's Wednesday. And then into Thursday, it just keeps coming. This is water vapor. And into Friday, here's Friday. And then it shuts off, or begins to shut down Friday. So it's just, there you go. There's your stream. Where is this coming from? Well, thanks to Hawaii. If we pull the Northern Hemisphere, no, how about North America? No, if you can see this here, let me start this over. What was the one I had? North America zoomed out? Nope. I had one last night that showed it very nicely, and now I can't. But it's coming from Hawaii. It had Hawaii on it. And you can see that long stream coming from way out here. And hence we call this a Pineapple Express, and it just keeps coming. And, yeah. It's kind of, we're tapping into what Hawaii just had. Some of that moisture is what it appears like to me. Here, maybe you can see it. Here's Hawaii. You can see it all the way. This jet stream this ridge has pushed the jet stream right to us and BC. There you go. And it finally shuts off about Friday. So, oh, Jen says Oceanic tab has a good view. Okay, fair enough. Maybe that's the one I'm missing. Thank you. East Pacific? Nope. I just got to figure out which one. Central Pacific? No. Yes, I'm very not. Oh, Hawaii? Well, that would help me? No. I just got to figure out which one of these Pacifics I got to do. Pacific Basin. Okay. Wide view? Ah, there we go. Thanks, Jen. There you go. Thank you. So there it is, Hawaii, and it's coming from way back here. And it goes right into, look at this. You can see this, oops. See this train of water, river of water going from Hawaii. Can Hawaii send us some of the sunshine when it's over? You might not have a bad weekend. So, hey, thanks, Jen. I learned something new. Good. Okay. Guys and gals, I'm going to bed. I will check in with you all tomorrow. We'll keep the page updated. Check the wind forecast from earlier today if you're wondering about the wind. But there may be some wind tomorrow, so please be prepared for that. And also, I believe, was it Thursday as well? And Thursday might be a little stronger. We'll keep an eye on that. Okay, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for giving the thumbs up. Thanks for your support.